Welcome to Downtown Topeka Rotary. I'm Mark DeGraff. I'm your president. What a beautiful day outside. I'm sure farmers and people who are drought-stricken are very grateful for this rain inside you as well. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. And Dick Knoll is going to make his way up to do our Rotary Minute guest introductions. While he's up coming up, our August featured charity is Grace Med. Their mission is to show and share the love of Jesus Christ by providing compassionate, accessible, high-quality care for residents of the communities we serve. Now, Dick.
Thank you, President Mark. So we have three guests today. We'll start with a guest of Yana Ross. She is network technology in the computer store, is the business manager. Please welcome Amanda Whitehead. Okay, and Grace Morrison has two very important guests today. They are granddaughters. And we have Riley and Kyler. With the red. Okay. All right. Riley and Kyler. So the Rotary Moment today is brought to you by your membership chair, me. So you're all here today, and other than our guests, we're all Rotarians, and that means you appreciate the gift of Rotary. So why not share it with someone else? Think of a friend or a business associate that would benefit from being a member of Rotary and would benefit the Rotary Club. Our club has very flexible membership rules now, unlike in the past. So we have family memberships, business memberships, we have service memberships, and of course, many of us are traditional members. So there's flexibility and different ways to bring people in. But why am I a Rotarian? Because I was asked.
Thank you, Dick. We have a few announcements today. Proposed new member is Kelly Trout. She is a former hearing instrument specialist and elementary teacher, and currently director of household operations for the Trout family, sponsored by her husband, Brett Trout. Today is National Ride the Wind Day. Our jokes: what do you think of renewable energy? Actually, I'm a big fan. This one might be a little better. 3 drunks are standing on top of the Empire State Building. They're drinking Pepsi for anybody that's underage over there. The first one says to the other two, you know, it's a funny thing about these wind currents. A person could jump off this building right now and not even hit the ground, and the wind would carry him right back up to the top of the building. The second drunk says, you're crazy. The first one says, I'm serious, watch. Jumps off the building and the wind carries him right back up to the top. The second one says, let me try. So he jumps, promptly falls to the street below, landing with a very loud splat. The first one smiles, clearly amused. The third one looks at him and says, you know, Superman, you can be a real jerk when you're drinking. Club Social. Jane McCall has planned a great experience for all of us. A Blind Tiger, 5 to 7 p.m. next Thursday evening. That's Thursday, August 30th. The club will provide appetizers. Linda will send out an RSVP opportunity via email this afternoon, so please watch for that. Also, there have been a few questions about our different membership categories. And there are handouts on the badge table in the back if anybody wants to learn more about how those differ a little bit. The important thing to remember is that every person, regardless of what category they are in, is a full-fledged member of Rotary International and can visit any club as they travel or anything else. And we're honored to have all of you here. Rotary Leadership Institute is coming up September 15th and 16th. That's a Saturday and Sunday. It's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day. It's limited to 12 to 18 participants. The first 3 seats are paid for. So our club and the district have scholarship the first 3 seats from our club. So if you'd like to go, please see Linda. Especially if you're a newer member or you haven't attended before, I think that's a really great opportunity to learn more about leadership and more about Rotary at the same time. It's a good weekend. You can register through topekarotary.org, and if you think that you might be one of those first 3, make sure that you connect with Linda on that. The Water Festival, we'll have a volunteer sign-up sheet coming out for that soon. It's September 20th from 9 to 1:30, so put that on your calendars tentatively and come out and have a great day. We were just describing how much fun it was yesterday at new member orientation and how much fun we've had in the past with that. And now it's my pleasure to introduce James Jeffries, who will introduce our speaker today.
So I actually got to watch Burt present at another one of the meetings probably a couple months ago, but he talks about actually really interesting. His name's Burt DeWeese. He's been with Rebound Physical Therapy for 13 years, and he's the Vice President of the Clinic of Operations since 2016. He completed his undergraduate at KSU, majoring in kinesiology, and pursued his master's in physical therapy at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. Burt specializes in general orthopedic conditions, vestibular rehab, ergonomics, and sports injuries. When he's not working, he enjoys working out, running, outdoor activities, and coaching his children in various sports activities. Burt, would you like to come up?
All right, well, thank you for having me. It's going to be good. So I'm Burt DeWeese, physical therapist and director over at Rebound Physical Therapy. We do have 2 clinics. Our main one's at 17th and Fair Lawn. Yes? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Yeah, got it. I'm used to moving around with these things, so. All right, let's try that. Is that better? Is it working? Is it working?
I think I broke it.
You broke it?
Yeah.
It was working when James did it.
Did I do something?
Gotta get really close.
How about we do this? Oh, what I did. All right, so is that better? Yeah. Here's the wire. Here's the wire. So again, my name is Burt DeWeese, physical therapist. Thanks, James. At Rebound Physical Therapy, and we have 2 locations. Our main is at 17th and Fair Lawn, and then our other one's at 37th and Burlingame. For that. So we're here to talk about ergonomics. How many people use ergonomics throughout your day? Okay, you sit at a computer, you better be using ergonomics, right? Okay, or if you lift or work in any other type of industry, you're using ergonomics. So we're going to talk about daily tasks done right, mostly about desk ergonomics, okay, at a computer. So who sits like that? Who would like to sit like that? Okay. That's not the right way to sit, correct? So if you sit like that, don't sit like that very long. All right, how about that? That'd be nice, right? That's a gamer's heaven right there. Fortnite, right? Fortnite all day long. Okay? Actually, if you're a spaceship, maybe. But I bet you can get a lot of work done in that. All right, so we're going to talk about ergonomics, body mechanics, and the injuries that could arise from having poor ergonomics. Once you understand some basic ways to improve your workspace, learn proper posture and lifting techniques, learn body mechanics with common daily tasks, and then ways to prevent injury. So this is your anatomy lesson real quick for the day, okay? We won't spend too much time on it. There's your spine. There's your nerve. No, I'm just kidding. So here's your spine. So the top part is the neck, correct? That's called cervical spine. Okay. Then the mid back is called the thoracic spine, and the low back is called the lumbar spine. And the bottom part is your tailbone, basically. So you can see the curves that are in that spine, correct? Let's see where's this pointer at. All right, so you got these nice curves coming through the spine. Why do you think we have curves in our spine? Who said cushion? Someone said cushion? Okay, good. So absorbing forces, right? Gravity pushes down on us all day long, correct? If that was a straight line, say like this line here, how do you think your body would do with absorbing forces and gravity? Wouldn't do very well, right? Take a stick and pound it on the ground, nothing moves. Okay. So in between, so you have the vertebrae, which is the white bony structure there, and in between that you have the what? The discs. Okay, what do discs do? Provide cushion. Good. Also allow for movement. Okay. So what happens then if we're sitting in bad posture, say your head goes forward, you change the angulation of the curve here, so you increase the curvature, or you flatten it out, you can arise in different problems of muscle pain, joint pain, overuse type injuries. So we'll talk about that later. So then you got nerves that come out of the spine, right? So you have nerves that run from your back all the way down your leg and down to your toes. From the neck, same thing, coming out of your neck, running down your shoulder, arm, and to your fingers. There's a big muscle, I don't know if you can see it here. I'm sorry, a big nerve. What nerve is this? You guys are good. Has anyone ever had any sciatic pain or problems? It's a pain in the ass, isn't it? Okay. Well, if you hold your thumb up, the sciatic nerve is about the size of your thumb. So it's a really big nerve, okay? And it can cause some pretty bad problems. Sciatica, just real quick on sciatica, it's kind of a junk term. It means you have pain down your leg. It doesn't necessarily mean where it's coming from. So it can be coming from a disc injury, so the disc is pushing on it. If you have degeneration or arthritis, which I'm guessing everyone in this room does except these two young ladies, you can have compression on a nerve from arthritis. So now you have arthritis or maybe a little bit of a disc problem and you sit at a desk for 8 hours a day. You run the risk of injury, correct? Okay, or an exacerbation of pain. So that's why it's important to talk about ergonomics so we can prevent or reduce the chances of that occurring. And then you got muscles, so everyone has muscles, right? Should. May not look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you got muscles. But you can see these muscles at the top of the shoulder and to the neck are pretty common ones that we see in the physical therapy world as people having pain. So if you go and poke on your neck or your shoulder area, you're probably going to be tight and tender there. Okay, probably 85% of you, if I poked on your shoulder in that spot, you would kind of squirm a little bit. Grace? Yes? Yeah. Even Grace has great posture, maybe has some tenderness there. All right, so real quick, just posture. So someone who sits in poor posture, it can limit your shoulder mobility. So this is Brian, one of our PTs. He's slumped down and he's raised his shoulders up. Can't raise them as far as he could if he sat up nice and tall. Okay, same thing here with his neck, slumped, tipping up. Now he sits up tall, he's got more range of motion. So you guys can try it if you'd like on your own. And then here's a different posture for reading. Okay, who reads like this? Everybody, right? So what can that cause problems? The neck, the back, right? She's crossed her legs there, so maybe some leg or hip problems. Okay, ideally she's up tall. I would probably even recommend raising the book up, right? So her neck isn't tipped down. We see this now with iPhones, right, or iPads. All the digital electronic stuff we use. People get neck pain from looking down too long. Okay, you get gamer stumps too from doing that. So posture, even using your electronics, is pretty important. Okay, so if you can, bring them up so you're at eye level, okay, versus looking down in your lap. All right. Can everyone see that little right at the bottom? It says, now that's more ergonomic. Who's done that with their computer screen? Right? So, ergonomics is the science and practice of arranging and designing things for efficient use. That green is pretty awesome. All right, so this is kind of the basic office setup. So if you can think of elbows, hips, knees at 90 degrees, you're doing pretty good. Okay. So you can see in this picture here, the individual's knees, hips and knees are at 90 degrees. Obviously, this person's feet are on the floor. They're close to the bar, so what I tell people is belly up to the bar, space bar, right? Got it? Did you get that? Thank you, thank you. Someone else told me that once, and that stuck with me. So in this situation, so the elbows are at 90 degrees, so if you're thinking of, I'll talk loud here. I'll do a demo. So if we can type here in this position, you know, instead of having to reach to type or to reach to use the mouse, once your arms leave your side, you start to increase strain onto the neck muscles. And you see that a lot. If you walk around your offices, and you guys have different office setups, and look at your computer setups, look at your employees that are there. See how they're operating at their desk. If they're reaching any which way, they're increasing strain onto their neck. Okay? So ideally, if we can keep them down at their side, so elbows at 90 degrees, and they can type in this position, that's an ideal position to be typing in. So think about your own desk setup too. You know, if you're typing here, but your mouse is up here, every time you've got to go to reach up here. So now you're increasing strain on your right shoulder and neck. So ideally, you're typing down here, your mouse is at your side, right, on the keyboard drop down, versus it up on the desk. Now the trick is with ergonomics is there's a lot of different heights in people, right? Okay. Average height is what? I don't know, 5'10", 5'11". Well, there's people that are what, 5 foot, and people that are 6'5". Okay. Stand up in this room, there's some tall and some shorties. Desks aren't made to fit everybody. Okay. So you got to fit the person to the desk usually. So in order to do that, if you get someone who is short, you're going to have to raise the chair up, put something under their feet. Okay, put a box. They make little stools for raising under the feet. Okay, to get the person to fit to the desk. Got it? Most companies don't have desks that fit each individual person, right? It's very costly, and most people aren't going to change everything in their office setup. But if you can get the hips and knees in that position, that's pretty ideal for the back, and then the elbow in that position. This shows a wrist. This is a wrist rest here that they're resting on. Ideally, you're not using those either. Okay, we'll talk about that as well. Sorry. Can you guys hear me if I talk loud enough? Okay. And ideally here, you want your eyes at about 3/4 of the way up of your monitor. Got it? So you're looking pretty well straight ahead. If you have bifocals, where should the monitor go? Up or down? Down. Why? Because you're looking down through your lenses, right? Walk around your office, see how many people are doing this. There's a lot of people that tip their head up all day long to look through their bifocals. What's that doing to your neck? You sit like that for 6 hours a day, right? Doing this. Tell me if your neck bothers you the next day. So it is important for people who have bifocals to look down through them, so you got to lower the monitor in that situation. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So here's a picture here. This is actually a tall individual. She's sitting down in this lower chair, so her wrists are sitting on the countertop, which isn't good. She's reaching up to the desk, so she's increasing strain on her shoulder here. Eyes aren't too bad, so I'm not worried about that. One thing we will talk about is the keyboard. So you see the little flipper there? We'll talk about that too. Unflip your flipper. Okay? Because what does that do to that angle of the keyboard? It raises it up. Okay? So when you cock the keyboard up, it makes you cock your wrists up. Okay? So we want those wrists to be in a nice neutral position. Okay? So we reduce strain onto the elbow. Here's this bifocal right here. This is Rose. So she's got her head tipped up. She's got this forward head position. Wrists aren't bad, but she's resting on this table again. But she is tipping her head up. Okay, so we want to avoid that. Does anyone use phones anymore like this? Yeah, are those yeses? Yes. Yes. Okay, what does that do to your neck? All right? No wonder your neck hurts. You know, they do make, you know, even newer technology than this, Bluetooth technology, right? In your ear and using it through your phone. It's a better option because it keeps your head in a nice neutral position. Okay, it allows you to do more things with your arm more efficiently. Oh, that's terrible. My desk actually looks worse now. So that's a laptop, sitting up tall the best you can. The laptop's a little different, right? You can't raise that up too high. Although a lot of laptops you can connect to a monitor, so then once you're at your desk, you can look through the monitor. All right, so going back to some other stuff here. So here's a footrest, so you can raise the ground up to your feet. Now, ideally, you can have an adjustable monitor. Some just slide up and down, which that's fine. But then also have these trays underneath your desk. Okay, so if you can have a tray that pulls out, you can get it closer to you. Okay, and then it's adjustable for height-wise for the individual. I prefer people not to sit in the back of their chair. Okay? What happens when you lean back in the back of your chair after 5 minutes? Right, you start to slump into the chair, so it's more comfortable. Does anyone play the piano in here? Okay. How do pianists sit at the stool? Great posture, right? Great posture, and their hands are floating along the keys, right? They're not resting on the keys. Is that correct, Grace? Okay. So if we can sit on the edge of a chair, get you in a better posture, can reduce strain on your back as well as your neck. Okay. Because if your back goes, what else goes? Shoulders come forward, head comes forward. Okay. Increase the strain on your back, neck, and the mid-back. Okay. So the same concept goes sitting or standing. You know, you see all these commercials now for standing desks. Does anyone have one? That's good. Are they electric so you can stand and lower, or do you the manual ones?
Got it raised from the desk.
So it's a desktop one? Yeah, perfect. So a lot of different companies out there now, well, they'll either make electronic full desks, or you put the standing desk on top of a current desk. And those are nice because you can change your body position from sitting to standing. But you see the ergonomics is still the same. So elbow at 90 degrees, head still in a good posture, still looking at the monitor straight ahead. Is there a brand that you guys use? That way others can hear about it? Veridesk. Yep, that is a good one. I've looked at those. Those are nice, easy to lift and raise and lower. Anyone else have any standing desks that's different? Do you have a full desk? Yeah, okay. Those full desks are obviously more pricey. The Veridesks, they're run around $250 to $350 is what the cost of those are. I'm always cautious, I was telling someone, I'm always cautious of speaking to individuals about standing desks. If I go to a big company and I talk to the HR director first and be like, am I okay talking about this? Because what happens when you talk about this and say it's going to help you with your ergonomics and pain, guess where they go? They go to HR and say, hey, Burt said I need a standing desk. And I'm like, I'm not getting invited back. So I always clarify that. So here's another one here. Okay, nice option, standing and sitting. And this is interesting, right? You ever seen the treadmill desk?
What's your feeling on that? Real attendant had a treadmill in the desk, and he worked on it all day.
Perfect. I mean, they're going at a very slow, they're not like you're walking at a mile per hour, it's probably 0.2, 0.3 miles per hour, it's just a small, slow, steady walk. If you have okay balance, that's probably okay. You miss that tread, you're going down, you're probably hitting your face on the desk. So, hey, look, she's out of her heels and she's wearing tennis shoes, so that's nice. That's even better, right? But I'm okay with it as long as they're safe and, they say maybe they're more efficient, more productive because they're active. Some of these standing desks, they sell little foot things to keep your foot active too. They make little stools you can put your foot on, take some stress off your back as well. So there's the Veridesk here on the left and the right actually. So they're nice. They look nice. They have single top monitors and double monitor stands. So they're pretty cool. We won't talk about chairs. Ergonomic mice, which is it? Anyone know? Mice? Mices? Go ahead.
What about the big balls that you sit on?
Ooh, I was forget to put that in here. So he asked, what about the big balls that you sit on, right? For balance, stability balls, exercise balls. Great option. Yeah, those are good too. So what does it do? You can't sit back on anything, right? So you have to sit up tall, you have to maintain good posture, plus you get to work on your core strength while you're sitting on it. So you're strengthening while you're working. Not a bad deal, right? So yeah, they're good. They also make some that sit in I guess a stool that has wheels on it. Yeah, there's some, if you Google like ergonomic office chair ball, I think it's a chair ball, a ball chair, whatever it is. But they have wheels on so you can actually slide around like a regular chair on those. But yeah, I think those are good. You see a lot of schools going to those now. I don't know if anyone's seen that. For attention span, increasing productivity, I would imagine. So with the mice, what we want to do with mice is keep that hand in a neutral position. So shaking someone's hand is kind of a neutral position. So if you can imagine being in that position while you're using this top right mouse, that's the idea behind it. Because when you use a regular mouse, what are you doing with your wrist? Right? You're flipping it down and you're increasing strain on the muscles at your forearm and elbow. Okay, so the nice thing about that is you stay in this position, you still got your clickers on your fingers there. Then the other one is the gamer's wonder here, so it's a joystick form, but again, it's that neutral position. And these ergonomic mices, they're about 40, 50 bucks, but you can find them I think you can probably find it cheaper than that. They go Bluetooth, I believe, and some have wires. Keyboards. So another thing with keyboards, you can see here on these keyboards there's a split in them, okay, and the angulation of those keys is inward. Okay. So if you had, in the bottom one is a nice one because you can make that as wide as you need to. But if you think about sitting at your keyboard, right, and you have, I'm just going to say if you have wider body, and you have a keyboard that's this wide, what do you have to do with your wrist to get to the keyboard? Right, you have to bend your wrist to type. Do that for 6 hours a day with your wrist cocked in that position could create pain and problems at your wrist. Nice thing about those keyboards, it puts you in this position, okay, more of that neutral position. What you can't, on the right one there, it's actually angled up to the middle. So your hands are in this position on the keyboard and typing that way. Probably takes some getting used to. I don't know, those are probably, I'm guessing, $50 to $80. But idea is you're changing the angle of your wrist and reducing stress onto your wrist. Could prevent things like carpal tunnel. Uh-oh, what'd I do? Oh, is this a glitch you're talking about? So laptops, you can't expand a laptop, so think about you sitting at your laptop and the angulation of your hands to access the keyboard on your laptop. Oh, there you go. Oh. Anybody have any ergonomic mouse or ergonomic keyboards? Has anyone ever looked at that? So no, not many, huh? There's a couple. So here we go talking about the wrist position. So here's the straight ahead way, which again, if your body is as narrow as those hands are, that'll work for you, right? I'm a pretty slender guy and I can't even get that. Okay? So wrong as you don't want the wrist cocked out, you don't want them too far in either. And then we talked about the flipper, right? So with the flipper up, it angles that keyboard up. And most people rest their wrists on the table or a wrist rest. Say that 5 times. Okay? So when you sit with your wrist cocked up, everyone do that for me, and touch your elbow here. So when you cock your wrist up, where does that contract the muscle? At your elbow. So you sit like that all day long, and then you type with your fingers doing this all day, you're going to create stress and strain at your elbow. Could create what we call epicondylitis, or inflammation of the tendon. So flip the flipper down. Got it? And the last thing on that is you can see here where this wrist is floating. Stay off the wrist rest. Keep your hands above it. Okay? It's going to allow you to type more efficiently too. So you can float like the keyboards or like a piano, floating across the keyboard. Okay? Got it? I'm going to switch gears now to lifting, so I got a couple minutes here. We'll go fast through this. I want to get to the stretches. Does anyone have to lift on a regular basis here? Okay, we'll talk quickly about that. All right, so lifting, keep the load close, right? You want things between your legs as you stand up with something. Everyone's heard, use the large muscles of your legs, not your back, right? So how do you have to do that? You have to squat your butt down, okay? Use a broad base of support, so wide, not narrow, because if you're narrow, you can't get it close to you. Abdominals tight, so think about someone's about to punch you before you lift the load that you're going to lift, okay? Obviously test the weight first, Avoid twisting, okay? So if you twist and bend, you put strain and stress onto your back, as well as if you have any discs that are a problem, you could be injuring those, okay? And then keep the curves of your spine. So here's a couple lifting techniques. Obviously squat down. If you have bad knees, hello? Okay. If you have bad knees, you may not be able to squat that low, so just go as low as you can to pick up the object. Obviously keep it close, stand up. That's a kneeling technique here. This is a golfer's technique. Anybody play golf out here? How do you pick the ball up from the hole? The golfer's lift. Keeps your spine in alignment when you're doing that, is the idea behind it. So these are what not to do, okay? Bending and twisting, bending without bending your knees, and we already had a Superman joke. Nice. Superman can lift however the hell he wants to. So don't try and be Superman, all right? Or else he will jump off and fly back up, and then you're splat on the ground, right? Your back will be splat. So common injuries, we talked mostly neck and back, muscle strain, typically what you're going to see. Other areas could be maybe a carpal tunnel injury. So the carpal, or the median nerve runs through the carpal tunnel, and it innervates these three fingers. So if you're ever experiencing numbness or tingling into these three fingers, the first three, okay, maybe a carpal tunnel issue where you're getting compression of the nerve as it runs through there. And that can occur from what? Prolonged resting on something or typing all day long. Okay, so those tendons of your fingers run right through that area. And then you have the lateral epicondylitis, which is just pain at the elbow, inflammation of the tendon where it attaches. So those are pretty common areas of injury for people who work at a desk. All right, I'm almost done. So we're going to go over some stretches real quick, and I believe these are all in your packets, so everyone's got to take a packet and a pen with you. Those are yours. So these stretches here, so the first one, and everyone can try this, is basically, we call this a smelfie. Everyone knows a smelfie, right? From the Old Spice commercials? Somebody has seen the Old Spice commercial, right? The smelfie. Right? The smelfie. All right. So anyways, the smelfie stretch is stretching down to your armpit. Make sure you wore your deodorant for the day, okay? So we're stretching the neck on the back side. Got it? That's the first one. The second one is basically just straight sideways. So you're, again, stretching the neck muscles on the side. Your neck muscles get tight when you sit in prolonged positions all day long, okay? So it's good to do these stretches throughout the day. I would recommend once every couple hours would be good. This is a doorway stretch, so the chest muscles. So you get inside the doorway, step through the doorway, you're stretching the chest out. What happens as you type all day long, your shoulders come forward, your head comes forward, all these muscles get tight in the front. We want to stretch those back out, right? So open up the chest, stand through the doorway, and stretch that through, okay? An easy way of doing that too is just bringing your hands back behind you and then coming back forward. Okay, so if everyone does that, you're going to feel a stretch all the way to your fingertips. So don't be shy, go ahead and try it. Everybody. Stretch it out. You've all been sitting here for an hour now. Stretch out your chest. Point your fingertips straight back. Oh yeah, hear that? Did you hear that? So you should feel all your muscles in your arms being stretched. Okay, hopefully nothing went. Okay? So that's a good stretch to do. And the other one below is just squeezing the shoulder blades. So that goes hand in hand, but just squeezing the shoulder blades back. Okay? Again, those muscles, when they get stretched forward, they become weak because they get long and they're not being contracted throughout the day. The first one is kind of what I just had to do. Then for the leg, a seated leg stretch is a nice one for the hamstrings. sitting on the edge, leaning forward. This is your butt stretch, so a little hip stretch there. Then the wrist ones, I'll go over those too. So this one everyone's going to do as well. So put your right arm out in front of you or left, doesn't matter. Take your other hand and reach inside the web of your hand. Okay? Web to web. And you're just going to pull towards you. More groaning, yes. So you should feel that along the top of your arm. So elbow needs to be straight. If you can figure out how to turn the crease of your elbow towards the ceiling, you're going to feel more of a stretch. Okay? Everyone figure that one out? Got it? Okay, now flip it right on over. So palm out. Yep, ouch. Why do you think everyone's saying ouch?
We don't like you a lot.
Hey, I didn't make you do sit-ups or sit to stand or any of that type of stuff.
So you brought ice packs, right?
Yeah, ice packs. So why are you tight? Right? You do this all day long. Right? You never stretch out. Add this to your routine. Add this to your employees' routine. Okay? These are really good stretches to prevent that tightness, to prevent injury and muscle strain into the forearms. Okay? If you're at a computer, you're doing this all day long. All day long. You need to stretch those muscles out. All right. A little trick to this thing. And you should feel good when you stop, right? That's the best part of the stretch when you're done. Right? I think that's what patients say. All right, so that was the second one we did. Okay, almost done. We wrapped it up. Good. So main thing is watch your posture. Look for ways to improve your workspace that fits you. Okay. You got to look at the body fitting to the desk typically, so you got to make some adjustments there. And obviously utilize good body mechanics with daily tasks. Do most people have any IT departments where they come and will do ergonomic assessments or look at least computer stations or anything? No? Okay. Obviously some bigger companies do, but take this information, walk around your office space, right? Walk around there and see what it looks like. See if someone needs an adjustment of a computer desk. Don't ask them if they have pain, right? Because they're going to tell you they probably have pain. Don't go there. Just see what you see. Okay. We do ergonomic assessments, so if anyone's interested, we can come do company ergonomic assessments, do a full write-up, give recommendations. So if you don't know fully what you're looking at, I'll be glad to help out. I do those. I've done it for several different places when they need it. But take a look at it. Prevent injury is really the key. Okay. You don't want someone coming to you and say, "Look, boss, I got carpal tunnel now I got to have surgery, and it's because I've sat at this desk for too long and did too much typing." So we want to prevent that. We really want to prevent that and prevent injury, prevent any type of cost to you guys. So, any questions? You have a packet in there with a pen. You have a survey in there. I need you to fill it out. If you can take 2 minutes to fill it out. It gives me information on the presentation. Also, there's information in there about if your company or group would like any presentations to your employees. We have a lot of different topics in there in that packet. And then there's just other information about Rebound. You guys can look at that. Any other questions? Yes?
So, back to the chair ball, or the ball chair.
Do you have the internet? Are you have the internet hooked up? Are you able to access the internet?
I don't know if we have the...
You probably know the answer to this.
I'll just show you.
How do you decide which size of ball to use, given that people are different?
So she's asking how do you pick the size of the ball if you're going to use the ball at the desk? I would stick with, if you're going to use it just for the desk, I would stick with the 90-90 rule. 90 degrees at the hips, 90 degrees at the knees. And then you can adjust the inflation from there. So most people are probably the 55 centimeter ball, 45 to 55. If you're sitting on it to get a knee angle, someone taller is probably 55 to 65. Yeah, and you can buy those anywhere. Right. Amazon Basics has them for probably $20 or $15. So they're pretty inexpensive.
Thank you.
But I would go stick with that 90-90 position. Grace.
Is there any protective effect for the belts that you see
Like lifting?
delivering be to deliver, swear, or weightlifters or anything?
Yeah, so she asked if the belts are beneficial. You know, I think if you're a bodybuilder, that may add some assistance. You know, if you're the delivery guy using them, I'd like to see them learn how to use their abdominal muscles more so than relying on a brace. Because then they rely on a brace and aren't using their core strength or their core musculature. It may give them an external cue, maybe some we call it proprioceptive response. So just a touch of something can give people an awareness of what's going on. I don't necessarily think they hurt to use, but I'd rather see someone use their actual muscles to stabilize their spine.
The place I worked at said that they didn't allow them because they were afraid it would actually push it to a different area where you weren't using purpose.
Yeah, so bigger corporations, we worked at a bigger one, told him they didn't want them using them. So I don't tell people to use them. I recommend against it. So, but if someone wants to, if it's a psychological thing and it helps them out, fine, go ahead and use it. But good question. Good question. Anybody else? Was that okay? Thanks again for having me out. I do have some, I don't know if my card is in there or not, but I have some business cards here if you guys would like one.
Burt, thank you. We, in your honor, actually donated a book to Ross Elementary, to their library. We asked that you would sign the bookplate in this. This one is Dog Man, A Tale of Two Kitties. Next week, we'll be right back here, and District Governor Blanche Parks will be our program. So be prepared for fun. It's capital F, capital U, capital N. And please remember the Rotary Leadership Institute, September 15th and 16th at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. that day. And with that, let's say the four-way test and conclude. Thank you. Of the things we think, say, or do, is the truth, is the very